Hello everybody, this is Damien with Rosy Side Farm. We recently took a trip to Cuba and visited the Vinales Valley, the big agricultural area of Cuba. And a lot of it is tobacco for cigars and coffee. So we visited a tobacco farm, but along the way saw some other farming type sites that we're going to share with you. So first, our tour guide brought us to this hotel that overlooked a good portion of the valley. So this vast rural valley has small farms spattered throughout. As you can see, not a whole lot of roads there, not a whole lot of equipment. As you'll see later, I got a picture of somebody riding a horse. They use animals for a lot of their transportation, a lot of the work around the farm. So just zooming in a little bit of a closer look down in the valley. Now, on our way from Havana to Vinales, there's just a lot of vast open land. So these small farms are not as prevalent as you think they might be. One thing we did notice is the large amount of chickens that are everywhere throughout this valley. It's kind of like Key West if you've ever been there, but these chickens are domestic chickens and they do belong to somebody. So here's a little horse and wagon going past. So these chickens are as free range as they can be. They are everywhere, but they do have a home. And there were chicks everywhere we went. So they're hatching out naturally, and they're just everywhere. Another thing we saw were dogs, and there are a lot of stray dogs everywhere. This dog is fine; it's just taking a little nap on the pavement. This is the tobacco farm we visited. Now, the Vinales Valley just went through a big hurricane, so they had a lot of damage and had to start their crop all over again. So here's a worker in the tobacco fields. And with these tobacco farms, they have to sell the large majority of their tobacco back to the government. They only get a small percentage to keep for themselves and sell to tourists. So behind that little cheesecloth was a little tomato garden. This is inside of their tobacco drying barn. This is a barn that was destroyed by the hurricane, so they're still working on fixing it. But that tobacco has to be dried, and then it has to be fermented before they can make it into the actual cigars. This is just a look at their farm. You see, you don't see any tractors, you don't see any machinery. A lot of this stuff is done by hand. We had a great tour guide, and they'll take you, after you see the tobacco farm, you can ask them any questions that come to mind, but they'll actually take you in and show you how to roll a cigar. So they show you how to roll a cigar, you drink some rum, it's a very good time. Those are purchased, and were quickly taken away by customs when we got back to the U.S. On our way back from the farm, we visited little touristy spots, and this one had turkeys, had a little piglet running around, had goats running around, and all these animals belong to different small farms that are around this area. They just literally free range everywhere and anywhere. So it's a pretty large flock of turkeys, and these are a heritage breed turkey, but they are a domestic turkey. You're going to see a lot of pigs and a lot of goats in Cuba because you can have a cow, but it's illegal to kill a cow. So you can't have a cow and raise it for beef. You can't kill it without the permission of the government. So you see a lot of goats, you see a lot of pigs, a lot of poultry. On our way home from all the touristy spots, we passed somebody who was selling pork sandwiches on the road, like in a grill, a little farm. So we stopped by, and they showed us their farm. And their farm consisted of banana trees and sweet potatoes, as well as their little livestock. They kept goats and they kept chickens, and of course chickens were running everywhere. One thing about Cuba is everybody's super friendly, and they were happy to show us their farm. This is right up against the highway. show us their farm, show us what they're doing. I think you can see a goat walking around in the back. This is their little farm stand they're selling, and it's literally right on the side of the highway. But thanks for taking this little trip with us. This is Damien with Rosy Side Farm. Our next video will be about things that we are doing on our actual farm as springtime approaches. Thanks. Bye.